Hello! In today's episode, I'll talk about a very sharp and not difficult to learn weapon against the Caro-Kann. In this position, the two main moves are knight c3, the classical variation, or e5, the advanced variation. However, we are going to surprise our opponent right away with the move f3. The idea is really simple. After d takes e4, we want to recapture the pawn to create this solid center. Our plan involves developing this knight to f3, this bishop to c4. We also want to short castle in order to put our rook on this open f-file to pressure f7 point. The fantasy is my main weapon against the Caro-Kann. It helped me to achieve 2100 on chess.com, and in today's episode I will try to pass to you all my knowledge about this interesting variation. On your right hand side you can see the variation list, in the description there are timestamps. And after this short introduction, let's move to the Maroczy Gambit. The Maroczy Gambit arises after f takes e4, e5 and knight f3. Prior to this, black can choose between knight f6 and g6. Both of those moves are quite common under 2000, but they are really passive and not good at all for the black side. If g6, we are going to play knight f3, bishop g7, e5, bishop g4, c3. We have successfully created this powerful pawn chain that is restricting the bishop on g7, that's why our position is just better out of the opening. If knight f6, we are going to play e5, knight d5 and c4 with tempo, creating ourselves a very solid pawn center. We are going to develop with knight f3, knight c3, bishop e3, bishop e2 and short castle. This will lead to a pleasant position for white pieces with 60% win rate according to Lich's database. That's why e5 is the only good option for the black pieces. We are going to play knight f3. Here black can play bishop g4 leading to gambit declined, or e takes d4 leading to gambit accepted. In this chapter we are going to focus on gambit accepted. Important note, you absolutely cannot capture on d4 because of queen h4 check. This is losing for white pieces. This pawn will be lost with check. This is definitely not what we want to see. That's why you are going to play bishop c4, putting long-term pressure on f7. And this knight has to be defending the h4 square. After bishop g4, the third most popular move, believe me or not, black is absolutely losing. After bishop takes f7, king takes f7, knight e5, forking the king and the bishop, king e8, and here queen g4, followed by short castle or maybe rook f1, bishop g5, knight d2. You have absolutely dominated black. Look at this active knight on e5. Black is unable to castle and you're going to quickly win a game. It's +3 on the ninth move of the game. Bishop e3 is another attempt, but this is very passive. You are going to capture this bishop, f takes e6, short castle, and your plan involves bishop g5, knight g5 and maybe queen f3 in some lines. If c5, you are actually winning the rook with knight g5, queen e8 and knight f7. If bishop c5, you are going to play knight g5 anyway. Don't be worried about d3. Step back with your king, d takes c2, queen takes c2, and you are attacking the bishop as well as threatening to fork the queen and the rook. This is +4 out of the opening. And the only good option for the black pieces therefore is to play knight f6. We are going to short castle. And here bishop e7 looks natural, but this is in fact a mistake. You are going to play knight g5, short castle and sacrifice your knight on f7. Rook takes f7, bishop takes f7, king takes f7 and now e5. This is exactly why you want to put your rook on the f-file in the fantasy variation in order to x-ray this knight on f6. If bishop c5, you are going to play knight g5, but here after short castle you have to remember bishop takes f7. You cannot recapture with your knight due to queen e7, followed by maybe d3 or knight g4. This position is really dangerous for the black pieces, for the white pieces, and we have lost our advantage. That's why bishop takes f7, king h8, and here we are going to play e5. If knight fd7, which is the most popular move, we are going to win a game with the move queen h5. If g6, we are checkmating the black king, and if queen takes g5, we are winning a queen. Either way, we are winning a game, I hope. If the move, another move instead of knight fd7 is the move d3. Here you are going to step again with your king to h1, and knight g4, e6. This bishop isn't going anywhere. Knight f2, you are going to give this rook for this knight. You are down materially, but now you have this queen h5 again, threatening a checkmate. If h6, you have queen g6, and black cannot capture this knight due to the checkmate. So the only really good option for the black pieces after knight f6 is to play knight bd7, and this is considered to be main line of the Maroczy Gambit accepted. But this is also better for white pieces. We are going to play queen e1 in order to rotate our queen to g3 or h4. If bishop e7, we are going to play e5 with tempo, queen g3, and black cannot really castle. If short castle, we are going to play bishop h3, threatening a checkmate. The only defense is the move g3, and we are going to play bishop takes f8. And this is a very important tactic to remember. And black cannot play bishop f3, f6, of course, we are going to simply capture with our pawn. Knight b6, bishop b3 might be another attempt for the black side. Bishop e3, knight bd2, of course, after knight bishop takes b3, we are going to recapture with our knight, and we are going to pressure this d4 pawn. If bishop e7, we are going to play e5, knight f d5, knight takes d5, short castle, and c3. And this is considered to be the best variation for the black pieces in the Maroczy Gambit accepted, but it's almost +1 according to the engine. All of our pieces are active, and this knight is very solid in the center. Black knight is misplaced on b6, and that's why really accepting the gambit with the move e takes d4 is a mistake. And now let's talk about gambit decline with the move bishop g4, which is considered to be the best approach in the fantasy variation. Just as in the accepted variation, we want to play bishop c4 in order to put pressure on the weak f7 square. Here, knight f6 is a really common mistake. I hope you know why. That's right, bishop takes f7, king takes f7, knight takes e5, winning a pawn and stopping black from castling. Just do not blunder your queen, please. Knight takes g4, knight takes d4, queen takes g4. Black is winning this pawn, but you have bishop g5, threatening a checkmate. Actually, after queen takes b2, you have a checkmate here. Therefore, black is forced to do something about this. Queen d7, for example, trading queens, but you reject this idea with queen e2. You're going to play knight c3, rook d1, short castle. You are a pawn up, black king is stuck in the center, and you have a lot more activity. It's +3, and you should be able to easily win this game. Knight d7 is objectively the best move against the fantasy. Here you play c3, and knight d7 blocks the possibility of knight e5. You play c3, and here knight f6 is again a mistake. But remember, you cannot sacrifice a bishop here. This is totally losing. Instead, play queen b3, putting pressure on f7 and on b7 at the same time. Queen e7, you are going to capture this pawn. Rook b8, you are going to capture this pawn. You are 2 pawns up. E takes d4, you are going to throw this bishop f4. This is a very important move to remember. Rook takes b2, and you are going to play queen c8, queen d8, and here a very cool tactic, bishop takes f7, king e7, and here bishop d6. Of course, if king takes f7, here we are going to win a queen. If bishop d6, king takes f7, queen takes d8, and you are winning. Bishop h5 is also a common move here instead of queen e7, but you're going to put more pressure on the f7 square. Queen e7, queen takes b7, rook b8, queen takes c6, e takes d4, bishop f4, again the same stuff. Here we are going to start with the move bishop takes f7. If king d8, you have a checkmate here. If bishop takes f7, rook c8, queen c8, queen d8, and you're going to capture this queen. And here we have a fork on f7, and you are simply winning a game here. Important note, black is forced to protect the e7 square. If they try to protect this pawn, and they're getting bishop takes f7, king e7, and they are almost losing here. And they are losing here, but they are almost getting checkmated. You have to do something about this bishop. If bishops go here, you have a checkmate. So bishop is forced to stay here. They cannot capture the knight, also because of the checkmate. After something like, I don't know, h6, you are going to capture this bishop, and you are also threatening a checkmate here now. And that's why they are forced to play queen e7, if you are curious. Another options, instead of knight g f6, is the move bishop d6 or bishop h5. Let's start with bishop d6. Here, short castle, knight g f6, bishop g5, short castle, knight bd2, queen c7, queen e1, followed by king h1. You want to rotate your queen to g3 or to h4 and launch some sort of the kingside attack. Your center is very solid here. You are definitely not winning, but I would prefer to play white. Bishop h5, short castle, knight gf6, queen e1, again trying to rotate the queen to g3 or h4, bishop d6, bishop g5, followed by knight bd2, king h1, and rotating the queen. Both of those positions are solid for the black side, and they're definitely not winning for white, but you have slight advantages. You'll be more familiar with those structure if you play them, and you will also not encounter them really often unless you are like around 2000. And that's when I have noticed that players in the Caro-Kann are really starting to get prepared in the fantasy. But these variations are also cool for white. White is winning 55% of games here, so don't be worried about those definitely. Bishop e6 is the old main line. Here we are going to play c3, knight d7, bishop d3, bishop d6, short castle, knight gf6, king h1, short castle and bishop g5, followed by queen e1, knight b2. And this looks very similar. In fact, it is very similar. But bishop e6 is very rare. Almost always you are going to either get bishop g4, the Gambit declined, or e takes d4. And that's all in the after e5. Now let's move to the third move, e6 or g6. e6 is definitely the most solid approach against the fantasy variation. Here I recommend the move knight c3. This is for me the best way to fight for the advantage, even though the position will be a little bit more dry and then, for example, in the Maroczy Gambit accepted. Here black can choose between knight f6 and bishop b4. Those are the two main moves I have decided to cover. After knight f6 there is actually a fun transposition. If against the French you play the move knight c3 and you go for this classical French, and then you should be familiar. Here we can play the move e5 and you get the same position. So if you feel confident about your abilities in classical French as white, you can go for this transposition. If not, I recommend bishop e3, and here after bishop b4 we can get e5 with tempo, a3 trying to kick this bishop away. If bishop e7 we have f4, and look how crumbled black pieces are. That's very common as you have noticed in the fantasy, that you gain a lot of activity and a lot of space advantage. If bishop takes c3, we will capture. Don't be worried about those two pawns, they really cannot be easily attacked or targeted by black. c5, f4, knight c6, knight f3, queen a5, bishop d2, c4. It looks like our bishop is kinda bad or stuck, and while this might be true, we have the move h4, and you want to play g4, play bishop h3, and try to break with f5. And this is definitely a better position to play as white, and white king is very safe under this wall of pawns. If bishop e7, this is just too passive. e5, f4, c5, and queen g4, putting pressure on g7. If short castle, then knight f3, and definitely white has a lot more activity here. And if g6, knight f3 followed by h4 to try to utilize this pawn to our advantage. Bishop b4 is the main move. Here the sharp line goes like bishop f4, and we are going queen d2 and long castle, so you can explore it on your own, although I'm not really a fan of black counterplay on the queen side, and I just don't really feel that white attack on the king side have some concrete in it. Therefore, I prefer the move bishop d2, and after bishop takes c3, which is the most popular move, we maintain this healthy pawn structure. Here, d takes e4 is a very important move. Many people play d takes e4 because they are thinking that after f takes e4 they are winning a pawn, but that's not true. You have to remember the move knight h3, and this is really important move. After knight f6, you can capture this pawn because there is no queen h4, and the position will go like this. Knight takes e4 is the most common according to Lich's database, and here we are bringing our king, attacking the, oh, I cannot draw arrows, attacking the knight and attacking the pawn. Knight takes c3, we are not recapturing, rather playing intermezzo with queen takes h7, rook f8, and now we are capturing this knight, and black is unable to castle short, and black king is stuck in the center. So that's why this position is better for white. And if knight d7, we can take, and don't be worried about queen h4 check because of this beautiful knight f2 blocking the check and defending e4 pawn at the same time. if bishop b4 and knight bishop d2 and knight e7 here, we play a3, bishop a5, bishop d3, short castle, e5, and this knight on f5 is very active, so I recommend training this off, although you can play f4 here and be fine. Bishop takes f5, e takes f5, knight c2, trying to trade those bishops. Bishop takes d2, this is better for white, this queen is very active on the king side, and this pawn is quite weak. If bishop b6, then we play f4, and you create ourselves this powerful triangle, and we just have space advantage again. Black pieces on the queen side are undeveloped, clearly. And I think that's all in terms of e6. This is a solid position, this will lead to a more dry stuff, but I believe, as I have mentioned in the beginning, knight c3 is your way to go. And now let's talk about a very dangerous sideline with the move g6. It looks silly, but it's definitely not. The problem with the move g6 is the fact that, well, it's rare, therefore you won't have much experience in it. And also the most natural move, e5, it's not bad, but it's giving black chances after c5. In case of d takes c5, there's e6, and both of those pawns are weak, and black will be able to gain a lot of activity. And after c3, well, this is a sample position. Both of black bishops will be able to gain activity, and I do not really like white position here. Therefore, I recommend knight c3 followed by bishop e3. Here black can choose between one of those three moves. If knight f6, e5, and f4. So knight f6 is really out of the question. You just get an improved version of e6, e6 variation. If d takes e4, f takes e4, knight f6, knight f3, short castle, and we are going to play queen d2 in order to exchange those bishops. Knight g4, bishop g5, f6, bishop c4, a very cool intermezzo utilizing this weak diagonal, king h8, and bishop f4, and both of your bishops are active, and you have a stable pawn center. A great position out of the opening. If knight g4, we are going to play bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, and this knight will exchange itself for this bishop, queen d2, knight takes f1, rook takes f1, short castle, long castle, and this will be a sharp game. Black will want to attack on the queen side, and you want to attack on the king side. Queen b6 is another tricky move, and there is the line with queen d2, queen takes b2, rook b1, and queen a3. And black is up a pawn, but you will have activity. This is a very sharp and theoretical line. That's why I recommend knight a4, queen a5, c3, knight d7, b4, queen c7, and e5. Now you can lock this bishop behind this pawn chain, because the black is actually on g7, and it cannot really go on c5. Definitely cannot go on c5. This position actually was played by Iron Erigaisi, a top grandmaster from India this year, so I believe it's great for white. And I think that's all in g6 variation. And now let's talk about sideline with the move e5 right away. The idea of the move e5 is really simple. After d takes e5, bishop c5, and black wants to play queen b6 in order to attack the king, the weak king on f2, or maybe capture the knight on g1. However, if you remember this sequence, knight c3, queen b6, and knight a4, forking both the queen and the bishop, you should be safe here. Important note, the same position arises after queen b6, knight c3, bishop c5, knight a4, and if bishop b4 instantly, bishop d2, bishop takes d2, you're going to recapture this bishop, queen g5 looks scary, you're going to play queen e2, queen takes e5, you're going to exchange pawns in the center, forcing a queen exchange, by the way. A queen cannot recapture due to the pin. Knight takes e2, c takes d5, and long castle. Maybe too many arrows here, but your plan involves knight b3, knight f5 in order to attack this pawn, maybe bishop b5 with check, maybe rook e1. You have a lot of possibilities, and this position is definitely better for white pieces. As back to the main line. Here, black will play either queen a5 or bishop f2. Let's start with bishop f2. Here you absolutely cannot go on d2. You are losing the game on the spot. After king e2, however, you are almost winning. Queen d4 is forced. The queen is attacked currently and it's defending the bishop. It cannot go on c5 due to the knight. It cannot go to e3 due to the bishop, and therefore d4 is the only square. You are going to exchange queens and solidify the center with the move f4. D takes e4, you are going to exchange those bishops, knight d4, you can capture this pawn, you are a clear pawn ahead. f6, develop your knight, trade pawns in the center, and you do not have to be worried. Black doesn't have a queen, or the black squared bishop, so black is unable to put pressure on your king. After knight d5, you can go king d2, followed by rook e1, king c2, and king c1, and you have a pleasant position with a pawn up. If queen a5, you are going to play c3, defending the knight. Bishop takes g1, rook takes g1, d takes e4, and here you cannot capture on e4 due to this move. It's about equal, but this queen is very active, and we do not want that. Instead, play queen d4 first. After e takes f3, you have so much pressure with this rook. With this queen, the bishop will join. The position is almost losing for black. If the most popular move arises knight e7, you're going to play bishop g5, knight g6, long castle, short castle, knight c5. This knight is very active, this bishop is very active, this queen is kind of stuck. This rook will be a powerful piece in the attack on the king side. And this pawn is weak. That's just a lot better position for the white pieces. And now let's move to the last variation that I'm going to present in today's video. Knight f6 on move 3 is definitely a rare sideline, and it's also easy to play against it, so you don't have to learn much theory. Just play e5 followed by c3 in order to restrict any possibility of g6 followed by bishop g7. And here you can also see that this knight on d7 is blocking the development of this knight, and also it really isn't doing anything. After c5, you're going to play knight a3, a very common move in the advanced French. And here we can apply it also. Your idea is very simple. You want to play knight c2 in order to add one defender to this crucial d4 pawn. After knight c6, knight c2, if exchange in the center happens, you are fine. You're going to play f4 followed by knight f3, followed by bishop e2, bishop e3, maybe h3 to prevent bishop b4 check. This position is just better for white. We have a space initiative, and our pieces can get active better than the black. Look at this bishop stuck behind the knight and stuck behind the pawn. If g6, which is considered to be a mistake, maybe bishop g7 is considered to be a mistake, because look at this powerful pawn chain. Here again, knight f3 followed by bishop e3, bishop e2, and short castle. And I think that's all in today's episode. I hope you'll be able to win many games with the fantasy variation of the Caro-Kann. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. You can comment down below which opening I should cover next, and if you consider leaving a subscription on this channel, I will be really grateful. And see you in the next one. Bye.